They say Atlantis vanished in a single day and night, swallowed by the sea, lost forever. But what if the story wasn't a myth? What if somewhere beneath the ocean's depths or buried under centuries of earth and legend lies the truth of a mighty empire, of unimaginable technology, of a civilization erased by cataclysm? This is the story of Atlantis, the rise, the fall, and the chase to uncover its elusive remnants. From ancient texts to modern sonar scans, from the sands of the Sahara to the icy waters of Antarctica, we're diving deep into history, mystery, and speculation in search of the lost city that has haunted humanity's imagination for over 2 millennia. The legend of Atlantis begins not with archaeologists or explorers, but with the philosopher Plato. In 360 BCE, in 2 of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, Plato described a magnificent island nation beyond the Pillars of Heracles, which many believe refers to the Strait of Gibraltar. This wasn't just any city. Atlantis was vast, larger than Libya and Asia combined, he claimed, inhabited by a powerful, technologically advanced people who lived in concentric rings of land and water, centered around a gleaming capital. Rich in resources, ruled by kings descended from the god Poseidon, Atlantis was a paradise, until it wasn't. Over time, the Atlanteans grew greedy, corrupt, and power-hungry. The gods, angered by their hubris, unleashed a catastrophe that sent the entire island crashing into the sea, vanishing without a trace. For centuries, most scholars dismissed Plato's tale as pure allegory, a philosophical metaphor warning against pride and moral decay. But others asked, what if Plato was recording an echo of real events passed down through generations? After all, he claimed the story came from Egyptian priests, relayed through the Athenian statesman Solon. Could there be a kernel of truth hidden in the myth? That question has sparked a global obsession. Atlantis has been discovered in countless places by countless theorists. Some point to the Mediterranean, others to the Atlantic, the Caribbean, even Antarctica. And each location offers its own tantalizing clues. Let's start with the most traditional, the region beyond the Pillars of Heracles. In the early 20th century, a German archaeologist named Adolf Schulten proposed that Atlantis might have been located in southern Spain, in the marshy plains of Doñana National Park near Cádiz. Satellite imagery and geological surveys have revealed mysterious circular and rectangular patterns beneath the mud, some even resembling Plato's description of concentric rings. Could these be remnants of a lost city swallowed by floodwaters? In 2011, a team of researchers led by Professor Richard Freund explored the area and suggested that Atlantis may have been buried there by a massive tsunami, echoing Plato's claim of sudden destruction. But skeptics argue the evidence is circumstantial and lacks definitive artifacts. Traveling west, some believe Atlantis truly lies beneath the Atlantic Ocean. One of the most vocal proponents of this theory was Ignatius Donnelly, a 19th century politician who published Atlantis, the Antediluvian World. He claimed Atlantis was a real place that had influenced ancient civilizations around the globe, from the pyramids of Egypt to the temples of Mesoamerica. Donnelly argued that when Atlantis sank, survivors scattered across the world, seeding the myths and megaliths of other cultures. Modern oceanographers have mapped the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, a submerged mountain range, leading some to speculate that it once stood above water and may have been Atlantis. But again, no concrete evidence has surfaced. Then there's the Caribbean theory. Some researchers have turned their eyes to the Bahamas, particularly the mysterious Bimini Road, an underwater formation of rectangular limestone blocks off the coast of North Bimini Island. Discovered in 1968, these stones look like a paved road or seawall. Some believe it's the remains of a lost civilization. Even the famous psychic Edgar Cayce predicted that Atlantis would rise near Bimini in the 1960s. But most geologists insist the formation is natural, the result of beach rock fracturing over time. Still, the legend persists, fueled by the uncanny shape and location. One of the more controversial theories points to Antarctica. Could the icy continent have once been home to Atlantis before a pole shift sent it into a frozen exile? This idea gained traction in fringe circles, bolstered by maps like the Piri Reis map of 1513, which some claim shows an ice-free Antarctic coastline long before it was officially discovered. Supporters argue that if Atlantis was a technologically advanced society, they may have had knowledge of the Earth's geography lost to later civilizations. But the mainstream scientific community remains highly skeptical of this theory, citing a lack of archaeological support and the vast timescales involved in continental drift. And then there's a surprising candidate: Africa. In the deserts of Mauritania lies the Richat Structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara. This massive, naturally eroded circular formation spans nearly 30 miles and bears a striking resemblance to Plato's description of Atlantis's concentric layout. It's positioned west of Egypt, in line with Plato's claim of Atlantis being beyond the known world. Satellite images reveal ringed patterns that match the capital's design. No ocean here, of course. But what if it was once a lush coastal region thousands of years ago before desertification set in? Some geologists suggest the region may have been far wetter in the distant past. Could Atlantis have been hiding in plain sight all along, camouflaged by the relentless march of time and sand? But why does the story of Atlantis still captivate us after more than 2,000 years? Perhaps it's the allure of lost knowledge, the idea that a civilization could surpass ours in sophistication, only to be wiped clean from the face of the earth. Perhaps it's the warning it carries, that arrogance, unchecked ambition, and a disconnect from nature and the divine can doom even the mightiest empire. Or perhaps it's the thrill of the chase, the dream that somewhere, out there, beneath the waves or buried beneath our feet, the ruins of Atlantis still whisper their secrets, waiting for someone to listen. In recent decades, technology has added fuel to the fire. With satellite imaging, LiDAR, and deep-sea sonar mapping, explorers can now scan the ocean floor and desolate landscapes like never before. Every anomaly, a submerged ridge, a curious formation, an unexplained pattern, becomes a potential clue. The rise of the internet has allowed armchair archaeologists to pool resources, cross-examine myths, and share theories at lightning speed. The mystery of Atlantis is no longer the domain of academics. It belongs to everyone. And with that comes a flood of new hypotheses, some grounded in science, others in speculation, all part of the grand puzzle. And yet, despite the fervor, no universally accepted evidence has confirmed the existence of Atlantis. There are no inscriptions, no definitive ruins, no ancient texts from other civilizations referencing it. Plato remains our only primary source. That fact alone leads many to conclude the story is myth, a metaphor for moral decline. But history has shown us that myths often contain fragments of truth. Troy, once thought a fantasy, was eventually unearthed in modern-day Turkey. Could Atlantis be next? Maybe Atlantis was never a single place but a memory, an amalgamation of lost cultures devastated by natural disasters. We know that around 1200 BCE, the Bronze Age civilizations of the Eastern Mediterranean collapsed in a mysterious wave of destruction. Earthquakes, droughts, and sea invasions ravaged once thriving cities. Could Atlantis be a memory of that dark age, preserved through oral tradition and reshaped into legend? Or maybe, just maybe, the city is still out there, waiting, hidden beneath layers of sediment, buried beneath the sea, or disguised as something we've seen but never truly understood. Perhaps one day, with just the right technology, just the right discovery, and just the right moment, the lost city will reveal itself, and with it, rewrite the story of our past. Until then, Atlantis remains the ultimate enigma, a symbol of what was, what could have been, and what may still lie ahead. Whether real or imagined, the legend pulses with a timeless energy, pulling us deeper into the unknown, challenging us to explore, to question, and to dream. And as long as the mystery endures, the story of Atlantis will continue to echo across oceans, deserts, and mines, calling out to those who dare to search for what has been lost and what might still be found.